What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another amazing Naruto story. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments, and also check the description box to original creator of this beautiful creation. 6 years later, Orochimaru sat in his dark study underground and reviewed all of his notes on the data he had gathered over the past 6 years. He named the boy Experiment 583 and he was happily amazed by his findings. The boy's physical conditioning was flawless and his cognitive abilities were off the charts for his age. Orochimaru began to shake with the anticipation of what this boy could do for him. Lord Orochimaru? What is it, Kabuto? Orochimaru had found the silver-haired, glasses-wearing, child on a mission while working with the Leaf Elder Danzo, who also controlled a division of Anbu known as Root. He instantly noticed the child's usefulness, so he took him under his wing. In the year Kabuto has been with him, he has made significant progress with 583, much to Orochimaru's pleasure. I have just been informed that none of the children you injected with Hashirama Senju's cells survived the process. The experiment was a failure. That is disappointing to be sure, but it isn't a complete waste. Perform autopsies on all of them and bring me your findings. Yes, Lord Orochimaru, if that is your command. Kabuto closed the door and went back to the labs. Orochimaru went back to studying 583's progress. It seemed that he had gained his father's innate genius. And of course his mother's large chakra reserves were also passed down. Orochimaru had even succeeded in breaking through the seal and releasing a larger amount of the Kyuubi's chakra into Naruto's system, though the seal repaired itself too quickly for any significant physical change to occur. I believe it is time to speak with the boy once again, he said to himself as he left the study in search of his experimental goldmine. When he reached the boy's cell he peered in and saw the child meditating on top of his bed. His skin was an ivory color, and his blonde hair had begun to show reddish streaks as of late. Well boy, it seems that your Uzumaki blood is gaining dominance. We will have to balance out your body again. We don't want any one part of you taking over now, do we? No, Lord Orochimaru, we don't, the boy responded. And how are you feeling? Same as every day. Have been communing with your beast? Kurama isn't a beast, Lord Orochimaru, the blonde boy said defensively. He didn't like people seeing the fox in a negative light. I almost regret cracking the seal before. If I didn't know any better I would say you are plotting with the demon fox against me. I could never do that to you, father, the boy said passively, his voice almost void of emotion. We shall see, Orochimaru said as he walked away chuckling. He had a powerful Jinchuriki under his control, and with the modifications he made to the boy's genetic structure the boy was sure to be unstoppable when he would mature. And then when he was ripe for the picking, his body belonged to Orochimaru himself. Hiruzen looked out his window at the village with sadness in his eyes. In 3 days it would be October 10th. In 3 days the village would remember the hero of the leaf who died to protect them all from the nine-tailed fox. And in 3 days what should have been the happy birthday of Minato's child Naruto, would instead be remembered as the day the 4th Hokage, his wife Kushina and their child were killed to defend the village hidden in the leaves. He remembered that day well. Along with an Anbu team, he found the cold bodies of Minato and Kushina near the altar used to seal the 9 tails. They found the remains of a charred-up baby on the altar pedestal, and after doing a DNA test, it was confirmed to be the remains of Naruto. Hiruzen and the village mourned the loss of the 4th and his family. Tensions had originally rose about how the 9 tails was released or his seal in the first place. The Uchiha clan were one of the first to be accused of the crime, but that accusation was later refuted and the clan was proven innocent of the crime. Hiruzen knew that something had to be done after this, so he appointed a member of the Uchiha clan, Michio Uchiha, the father of Makoto Uchiha, to be one of his advisors as well as an elder of the Leaf Village. Doing this allowed the Uchiha to feel more connected to the village and relations had never been better. Even though the Leaf Village was prospering again, Hiruzen felt like a failure over the death of Naruto. When Minato sealed the 9-tailed fox into his son, Hiruzen knew that it was up to him to protect the boy. And he there too late. And to make matters worse, there were rumors that his student Orochimaru had been conducting vile experiments on the children of the Hidden Leaf. Many have gone missing over the past few years, and most of them were shinobi. Hiruzen had squads of Anbu out searching for evidence on the matter, and he truly wished that they didn't find anything. Lord Hokage, Hiruzen looked to the door to his office, which had been quickly opened. An Anbu with a dog mask and silver hair had barged in. "What is it, Anbu? We found something. It is true, about Orochimaru. We found underground tunnels with dead bodies in it. They were all children. Where is he?" Hiruzen asked as anger filled his eyes. "We don't think he is onto us yet. A strike team is waiting on your order. Arrest him. I want him alive so that I can make him pay for his crimes. Tell them I will be there shortly." "Yes, sir. Lord Orochimaru, we need to move at once," Kabuto informed him as he ran into his study. "What is it, Kabuto?" "A team of Anbu have just infiltrated the tunnels. They will be onto us shortly." Orochimaru grabbed his research files and sealed them into a large scroll. He handed the scroll to Kabuto. "Take this and leave. I will follow shortly. Go to our 5th laboratory in the land of tea. This is all of my most important research. Time is of the essence, Kabuto. Don't fail me." "Yes, Lord Orochimaru." Kabuto used the body flicker jutsu to teleport outside of the tunnels and made his quick escape. "Well, I guess it is time to finally leave this forsaken village." Kakashi Hitaki, Anbu Black Ops member, ran through the tunnels with the rest of the Anbu team. They had located a total of 27 bodies of children who had obviously been experimented on. It made him sick to think that a fellow shinobi would do such horrendous things to his own village. "Dog, there is an open door up ahead. Search the room quickly and watch out for traps." Kakashi responded. The team stormed the room and located several more bodies of recently deceased children. It appeared that they had only perished a few hours ago. "This is all just so wrong." An Anbu wearing a cat mask stated. "I know what you mean, to do something like this to children, it's against nature." Another Anbu responded. "Wait guys, do you hear that?" "Hear what, dog?" Kakashi moved over to the pile of bodies on the ground. He gently moved one from the top and saw a hand moving. "One of these kids are alive," he shouted. The other Anbu ran over to help move the dead bodies off of the living child. He had brown hair and a leaf forehead protector on as well as a chunin vest. A chunin at that age. "I was one at a younger age," Kakashi said passively. "Wait, dog, isn't he the one who was thought to have been kidnapped by Hidden Rock Ninja on an escort mission?" "Yes, I believe so. Tenzo, I think his name was. Well, he needs medical attention now. Cat, take him to the hospital." "But what if you encounter Orochimaru? This child needs our help more." "Yes, sir." Cat grabbed the bow and flickered out of the tunnels. "When will Lord Hokage be here?" "Soon. Let's move on." The group came to a point where the tunnel split into 3 passageways. "You two go left, you two go right, and I will take center," Kakashi said to the other 4 Anbu members. "Will you be okay by yourself?" "I'll be fine. Now go, there may yet be other survivors." "Yes, sir," the 4 Anbu said simultaneously. Kakashi quickly ran down the hall until he found himself in a large room filled with what looked like jail cells. They all seemed to be empty. "What is this place?" He looked around the room until a voice shook the silence. "Hello, who are you?" Kakashi turned around to see a child no more than 6 years old sitting in a cell. The child looked somewhat familiar. His skin was ivory white, and he had long spiky blonde hair, with red streaks throughout it. His eyes were the weirdest part of him though. One was a cerulean blue hat, looked very familiar with the blonde hair. The other was a luminescent green that looked natural and pure. "Who are you?" the boy asked again. "I'm an Anbu of the Hidden Leaf Village. You should leave this place. Father won't like it that you are here." "Father? Orochimaru. He doesn't like visitors. Orochimaru is your father." Kakashi was bewildered by the statement. Upon further inspection, he noticed the shape of the boy's face and the red hair against it. The blue eye was so familiar. "Sensei? Well, how good of you to join me here, Kakashi Hitaki." Kakashi spun around to see Orochimaru approaching him. "I never expected you to be the one to find this place, though with who your sensei was. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised now, should I?" "Orochimaru, you are under arrest for crimes against the Hidden Leaf Village," Kakashi said, shaking slightly from the snake's presence. "Kukuku. Oh Kakashi, you humor me. Do you really think that you are strong enough to capture me? I am a Sannin after all. I will not allow to harm another innocent soul." Such conviction. Sarutobi sensei has really pushed through to you, hasn't he? "No matter, I cannot allow you to get your hands on my child now, can I?" Orochimaru made several hand signs quickly and slammed his hands on the ground. Reverse summoning seal. The cage that the blonde-haired kid was in began to glow behind Kakashi and suddenly the child vanished from the room. What did you do with him? Oh, I just sent him somewhere a bit further away. Can't have you getting into too much trouble with me now, can I? Kakashi knelt D0 and his right hand began to glow and crackle as the sound of 1,000 birds filled the room. Oh my, you're Chidori, I have heard stories about that jutsu. Actually this is my more powerful lightning blade, and you are the first to witness it. Kakashi ran towards the Sannin at incredible speed but the snake flashed away and appeared behind the Anbu. Orochimaru grabbed Kakashi and threw him against a nearby wall with such force as to indent the ninja into the concrete. Poor little Kakashi, first you lose Obito, then you kill Rin, followed by the death of your sensei. And now I get the pleasure of killing you. I will definitely enjoy this. Orochimaru opened his mouth and a sword came flying from his stomach. As he gripped the blade's hilt the snake laughed maniacally preparing to strike down the Anbu ninja. He raised the sword into the air. Goodbye Kakashi. As he brought the blade down a large black metal pole crashed into him forcing him away from the young Anbu. Orochimaru, your time is up. Why hello there Sarutobi-sensei. I'm so glad that you could join me. What are you doing Orochimaru? How could you betray me like this? Like how you betrayed me by giving the title of Hokage to Minato Namikaze. Well let's look at how that turned out Kukuku. How must it feel Sarutobi-sensei to know that you failed so horribly with your students? Even Jiraiya is a shadow of his former self now, ever since his student died. I will stop you Orochimaru. The third said. No, I will leave this place. But I promise that I will return and when I do, I will burn this whole insufferable village to the ground. Orochimaru said with venom in his voice and a demonic look in his snake-like eyes. I really have failed you so. Hiruzen said sadly. You should be proud Sarutobi-sensei. Your student has surpassed his master and will bring this shinobi world to its knees, Kukuku. Farewell sensei. Orochimaru seemed to merge with the ground and he was gone. Hiruzen stood, too shocked to move for the moment. He was snapped from his thoughts by a groaning noise. Kakashi. He ran over to the Anbu in the wall. Are you okay? I will be. Damn that really hurt. I will get you some help. Lord Hokage? Yes. Are you sure that Naruto is actually dead? Why would you ask such a thing? Of course he is dead. You saw the body and the coroner reports. I just saw a child, and I swear he looked like Minato-sensei. Kakashi passed out as he finished the sentence leaving Hiruzen in a state of shock. It was impossible. Naruto couldn't be alive, could he? The young blonde woke up in the woods. He heard the sound of what seemed like a pig oinking nearby. The last thing he remembered was Orochimaru teleporting him away, but the boy intercepted the chakra flow of the jutsu and caused his body to go to another location. I got away. I actually got away. He heard the same oinking again, so he stood up and followed the noise. As he came to a clearing in the forest Naruto saw two women. One looked to be in her 40s and had long blonde hair in two ponytails. She wore a white shirt that barely with navy blue pants and a black belt. She also had on a pair of ninja sandals, a green coat and she had a strange purple diamond tattooed on her forehead. The other girl looked to be a few years older than himself, maybe around Kabuto's age. She wore a fishnet mesh shirt with a large black kimono that came down to her calves, as well as a pair of shinobi sandals. Next to her sat a small pink pig with a red jacket on and beads around its neck. Lady Tsunade, do we have to keep running away like this? Why don't you just stop with all of the gambling? Shizune, this next stop will be our lucky spot, I just know it. This losing streak is about to be over. That's what you said about the last town, and the village before that, and the city before that one. Shizune replied exasperatedly. What, don't you trust me Shizune? Tsunade said, feigning hurt. Of course I do Lady Tsunade. She replied afraid of offending her teacher. Oink. The pig named Tun Tun squealed knowing how obliviously Shizune just acted. Well then, let's get moving. Tsunade started to walk away. As she walked she saw a small blonde boy wearing tattered clothes. He was watching them intently as if he had never seen people like them before. Lady Tsunade, what's wrong? Shizune asked. She turned to look in the same direction and she too noticed the boy. Hey kid, are you okay? Shizune yelled out as she ran up to him. The blonde saw the lady running towards him and he took a defensive pose. He was afraid that she would hurt him like Orochimaru and Kabuto did. Tsunade noticed the change in his posture and she started to walk towards the boy as well. "Are you okay?" Shizune asked him as she stopped a few feet away from him. "Where are your parents?" "I don't have parents, or at least not one I want to get back to," he answered. "Are you hurt?" He silently shook his head no. Shizune back away for a moment. "Yes, Lady Tsunade." Tsunade knelt down next to the scared boy. She did a quick scan over him and noticed how striking his eyes were. She could also feel the chakra radiating off of him. "Where did you come from?" "My father's laboratory." "What is your father's name?" "Orochimaru." Tsunade paled at the answer. She also knew that it was impossible as the boy had not resemblance of her former team member. "Excuse me, lady? You can call. What do you need? Are you from Konoha? You look familiar." "Yes, I am. Who do I look like?" "You look like Tsunade's Senju of the Sannin, and the last known member of the once great Senju clan. But you can't be her because she would be a lot older than you are." Tsunade couldn't believe that a child so young would have so much knowledge about her to be able to recognize her on sight. Sure, she was famous, but he looked like he was 5. "I am her. I use a jutsu to look younger than I actually am." Suddenly the boy grew a large smile on his face. "So you can take me to Konoha?" "Wait, what?" "I read about the Hidden Leaf Village in a book, and I want to go to the place where the 4th Hokage once lived." "Why do you want to go there?" "I want to see the village where he sealed Kurama inside of me." "Who?" "Kurama, the 9-tailed fox." Tsunade's eyes widened significantly. He couldn't be. The hair, and the blue eyes, it wasn't possible he was dead. "Naruto?" Hiruzen sat at his desk looking over the shinobi mission reports that had come in the past few days. Ever since the discovery of Orochimaru's crimes, and his inevitable defection from the Hidden Leaf, the village had been in a state of shock. Not only had their Sannin hero been kidnapping their shinobi children, he had caused their deaths through gross experimentation. It was a betrayal that no one had seen coming. He had also been shaken due to Kakashi's alleged identification of a child who may have been the 4th Hokage's son. But there was no evidence to support the claim, mainly due to the fact that the boy couldn't be located as Orochimaru took him. Hiruzen didn't want to get his hopes up that the boy could be alive. He didn't think he could bear that grief again. On a more peculiar note, a message had been sent to him by one of his old students. Tsunade Senju, his prized medical specialist, had sent a note that informed him that she would be in the village on October 10th, which was today. He read the note again to see if he had missed anything. "Sensei, sealed in this note are a few samples of blood. I need you to have the village medical staff check it against all known shinobi records. It will probably take 2 days for their tests to be completed. I ask that all information regarding these samples be kept secret until I arrive. Do not read the results, Sensei. I will be arriving in the village on the 10th of October, in 3 days' time." Tsunade. She didn't give him any reason as to why she was returning, or why she wanted those blood samples to be checked, not that he needed one, but she had before sworn to never enter Konoha again. She hated the village after the death of her brother Nawaki, and the love of her life Dan. He didn't care why she was coming, he was just happy to see her once more. "Having fun there, Sensei?" Hiruzen quickly turned in his chair to see a tall man with long spiky white hair, wooded sandals, a fishnet mesh shirt, green robe and pants, and red vest, as well as a forehead protector with the kanji for oil on it. He also had red face paint going down his face from his eyes. "Jiraiya, you're here too? So, you got Tsunade's message as well then. How does it feel to see all 3 of your students within the same week again, Sensei?" The man asked with a smile. "It is great to see you again, Jiraiya, it has been far too long. Well, I've been keeping an eye out, looking around for the past few years." "Still looking for Minato's son?" "I refuse to accept that he is dead, Sensei. I just cannot have failed Minato and Kushina again. I know how you feel. I have felt the same way ever since we lost the 3 of them." Jiraiya walked around Hiruzen's desk and sat in the chair directly across from his old sensei. "Do you have any idea what she wanted?" "Not a clue. I am frankly surprised that she sent a note at all." "Same here. Tsunade hasn't spoken to me since the last time she caught me researching for my next book." "That reminds me, when is the next book going to be out?" Hiruzen asked with a slight blush. "Ha ha ha, Sensei, you old pervert. I will have the next book in the Makeout series out in stores in a few months." "Well, that's good to hear. He was happy that for even a few seconds he could forget about all of his stress and guilt over Naruto. So when should she be here? Anytime now, anytime. Jiraiya pointed to a sealed file atop his sensei's desk. What is that? That is the reason for Tsunade's visit, and it is not to be opened until she arrives. Well, I hope she gets here fast. Those hot springs are calling my name, and so will the lucky ladies inside. The perverted sage said under his breath with a large smile on his face. Tsunade, Shizune, and the blonde boy were walking down the dirt road through the land of fire. While the boy was unnaturally quiet for a child of his age, Tsunade was thinking about their conversation the other day after she had met him on that hilltop. Flashback. Naruto? Tsunade asked, her voice a mixture of hope, fear, sadness, and shock. She didn't know if it was him, but a part of her wanted it to be him. Naruto? Who's Naruto? The blonde asked. Do you mean the main character from the famous book by the legendary Jiraiya? His voice lit up and a smile stretched across his face. Tsunade was floored by the question, and she had only one prayer on her mind at that moment. You are far too young to be reading that kind of trash. Trash? How could you call the tales of the gutsy ninja trash? It is my most favorite book in the world. Oh, that book. Tsunade let her breath catch up to her, and she was glad that his wasn't one of his works of pure perversion. She continued to look at the boor with hope. He was the right age, and that hair, even with the red in it, and that blue eye, made him look exactly like Minato. The shape of his face was definitely that of Kushina, even if his skin was ivory white. Are you okay, Lady Tsunade? The boy asked her in concern. Yeah, I'm fine. What is your name? I don't really have one. Orochimaru just called me Experiment 583. The boy said with a frown. Well, what would you like me to call you? The boy thought hard for a moment, and then his face lit up with a smile. Can you call me Naruto? I don't know why you said the name before, but I really like it. He was my favorite character from Lord Jiraiya's masterpiece. Tsunade and Shizune couldn't help but smile. If that is what you want, then we shall call you Naruto. I really hope it is you. Naruto, how do you know about the nine-tailed fox? Shizune asked. Orochimaru told me all about it, and I talked to him. He is my only friend in the world. Unless, wait, are you my friends now? Tsunade smiled sadly. This boy has incredibly intelligent for his age, and it was easy to forget exactly how old he was. But at the end of the day he was still just a little kid. Yes, Naruto, we are your friends now. Afterwards Tsunade had to convince Naruto to allow to take samples of his blood. But she had a really hard time as he was terrified of needles. She figured that was a natural reflex due to the experimentation Orochimaru put him through. In the end she had to use medical ninjutsu to put him asleep while she collected the blood samples. She sent them to the third Hokage in hopes of discovering Naruto's true identity. When Naruto awoke he was initially mad at Tsunade, but she explained to him that she just had to make sure that he was okay, and not sick. As his friend she needed to look out for him, and protect him. That seemed to make the boy smile again. He was happy to have friends who cared so much about him. Flashback over. Tsunade looked on ahead and saw the giant gates of Konoha. You could even see the Hokage's faces carved into the side of the mountain from where she stood. Naruto, look, we're here. We are. The blonde kid grew excited at the prospect of being in Konoha. I can see faces. Those are the Hokage's stone faces, right, Lady Tsunade? That's right, Naruto. Wow, I never thought they would be so massive. Shizune just giggled at the blonde's wonder. She found it incredibly cute. The group of three approached the gates to Konoha and Naruto was getting antsy. He wanted to run up and look at everything. As the young boy ran across the border of the village, someone yelled out to him. Hey kid, what do you think you're doing? Naruto looked over to see two ninja dressed in the standard Chunin attire sitting at a desk marked Welcome Station. He ran over to the desk with a smile. Naruto, what are you doing? Tsunade walked up behind him with Shizune not far behind. Lady Tsunade? You're here, in the Leaf Village? One of the two Chunin said, shocked. That would be right. This is Shizune, and she is my apprentice, and this little runt here is Naruto. He is also with me. Alright, we just need you to sign these forms. Can Shizune handle that? You have a meeting with the Hokage. Yes, that is no problem. Shizune, meet me in the Hokage's office. Yes, Lady Tsunade. As Tsunade and Naruto began to walk towards the Hokage's building. As they were walking, Naruto looked all over at everything that he could see, soaking up as much information that he could gain visually. As they walked, a shouting could be heard from ahead of them. "Come on, brother, let's train with me?" "Another time, Sasuke, we don't have time to train at this second." "No fair, I'm bored." Ahead of them, a black-haired boy was walking along with a much younger boy who was clearly his brother. As the older of the two looked ahead and saw Tsunade, he stopped in his tracks. "Lady Tsunade, it is a pleasure see you in person." "Hello there, and you are?" The younger brother ran up before the older one had a chance to respond. "That is my older brother Itachi Uchiha. He's 11 and he just made Anbo." Tsunade smiled and knelt down, as Itachi rolled his eyes at his brother's antics. "Oh really, and who are you?" "I'm Sasuke Uchiha and I'm 6. I'm gonna be the next head of the Konoha police force." "Are you really? Well Sasuke, you know you shouldn't tell everyone you meet about your brother being in Anbo. It's supposed to be a secret." Sasuke's face just paled, even more so than the already ivory-skinned boy's color was. "I didn't know that. I'm not in trouble, am I?" "No you're not." Tsunade felt someone pulling at her pants. She looked down to see Naruto hiding behind her slightly. Sasuke noticed the little boy behind the strange woman. "Who are you?" the young Uchiha asked somewhat forcibly. Naruto didn't answer at first, not knowing whether or not he should trust the kid. "Go on and answer him," Tsunade told him. Naruto came out from behind her back and stepped towards Sasuke. He held out his hand to the Uchiha. "I'm Naruto." "How old are you, Naruto?" Sasuke asked, excited at the new kid in town. Naruto's face slightly shifted as he frowned. "I'm not sure, 5 or 6, I think." "You don't know how old you are? Are you stupid or something?" Sasuke asked. "Sasuke, now that isn't nice." Itachi cut in. "Oh, sorry Naruto," Sasuke said, slightly saddened. "It's okay Sasuke," Tsunade answered back. "I found Naruto by himself in the woods. We are going to see if we can figure out how old he is right now." "Can I come with you?" he asked excitedly. Naruto also looked happy at the prospect of Sasuke coming along. "Can he?" "Sorry Naruto, not this time," Tsunade answered. "Sasuke and I have to be heading home anyway. Maybe we will see you again soon though." "Goodbye Lady Tsunade." "Goodbye Naruto," Itachi said as he grabbed Sasuke's hand. "Bye Naruto," Sasuke said to his new friend. "Bye Sasuke," Naruto responded. "Lady Tsunade, what are you doing in the middle of the street?" Shizune said as she ran up and met the two. "I thought that you would have been at the Hokage Tower by now." "We got a little sidetracked meeting a new friend, right Naruto?" "Yup," he answered. "Well let's get moving. Lord Hokage is probably waiting for us," Shizune advised. Hiruzen and Jiraiya sat in his office discussing many things as they waited for Tsunade. From news that spread throughout the shinobi nations, to Jiraiya's perverted exploits, their topic were never boring. Hiruzen smiled for the first time in a while with his old student. "So did you ever master your sage mode?" No, I've been too busy for that serious of training." "Busy with what Jiraiya?" "You know, my research," the toad sage said with a creepy grin. A knocking came from the door. "Yes? Lord Hokage, you have some visitors." "Send them in." "Yes sir." "Well it is about time," Jiraiya said a little too loudly. "Damn woman is always la." What was that Jiraiya? He slowly turned around to see his old teammate glaring at him. "Tsunade. Hey there, I was just saying how you were always lovely. Especially today. You look damn good." "Good try Jiraiya." Hiruzen couldn't help but chuckle at his students bickering. Just like old times, he thought to himself. "Well Tsunade, what did you need to see me about?" "Hello sensei, do you have the files from the medical teams?" "Yes, they are right here." He handed the folder to Tsunade, who grabbed it and ripped it open quickly. "Thank you for not reading it sensei. I just did as you asked Tsunade." As Tsunade read the detailed analysis of Naruto's blood work, a slight smile came to her face and she began to cry. But as she read farther, the smile slowly turned into a frown, and from a frown to full-blown fire in her eyes. Tsunade Senju was pissed and the target of her anger was Orochimaru. "That snake bastard. What's wrong Tsunade?" Hiruzen and Jiraiya asked at the same time. Tsunade closed the file as she finished reading it and wiped the tears from her eyes. "First things first, Shizune, please bring him in here." "Who?" Jiraiya asked. "Tsunade, who do you have with you?" Hiruzen questioned her. "Just watch sensei." Shizune opened the door and slowly brought Naruto into the Hokage's office. Jiraiya's face instantly turned from curiosity to full-blown shock. Hiruzen felt tears coming to his eyes. He couldn't believe it. Naruto? They both asked at the same time. Hey, how did they know my name? I just made it. The blonde asked Tsunade. What do you mean you just made it? Jiraiya asked. Okay, I need the both of you to stay calm for a moment. I found Naruto here in the woods near the land of tea. He had no idea who he was, what his name was, or even how old he was. But he claimed to know who his father was and that he didn't want to go back to him. Who did he think was his father? Hiruzen wanted answers and he wanted them now. Orochimaru is my father, Naruto said to the two older shinobi, surprise. His hair and eyes. How is this possible? Hiruzen asked in shock. I think he just told us sensei. Jiraiya responded. Orochimaru. Shizune, please take Naruto outside again and have him take a nap. He's probably tired. No, I'm not, the boy said as he yawned and fought to keep his eyes open. Come on Naruto, let's let Tsunade and the other grown-ups talk, okay? Okay, he said as he yawned again. As the door closed, Jiraiya stood up and drew a few seals around the room. He then activated them, turning the office into a secluded location, unable to be penetrated. So he has been with Orochimaru this entire time, Hiruzen said to himself. Then Kakashi did in fact see him in there. Why didn't I believe him? There is no way that you could have known sensei. Jiraiya told the sad old man. Tsunade, what did he do to Naruto? According to the DNA test I had done, that is most definitely Minato and Kushina's son. There is no mistaking that fact. Okay, but there was a strange irregularity in his DNA composition. It seems that Orochimaru somehow combined Naruto's DNA with the DNA of others. But who? Hiruzen asked. Well, first off, Naruto already had the genetic traits of the Uzumaki clan and of Minato Namikaze. Orochimaru managed to acquire cells from Hashirama Senju, Tobirama Senju and Madara Uchiha as well as Mito Uzumaki. He injected Naruto with their cells and it had drastic effects on Naruto's DNA code. You can see the external effects. His ivory white skin, a common trait of the Uchiha clan. His yellow hair has turned red in many places, that is the extra Uzumaki cells at work, and then his green eye seems to have a connection to Senju DNA. I can't believe it. Jiraiya was pissed off beyond all measure. The absolute torture he must have put him through. How did he survive it? The fox. Hiruzen said. Minato sealed the whole fox into him. His regeneration abilities must be extreme. But that should have killed him. Jiraiya explained. Unless Orochimaru already began his tampering even before he was born. Hiruzen clarified. That snake bastard. Tsunade was absolutely livid. What about internal changes, Tsunade? Jiraiya asked. His physical conditioning is perfect. He is fast and strong for his age. But the truth is, we have no idea how all of this will end up affecting him. We have never had a situation like this before. We will discuss this more later. For now, Jiraiya, release the seals please. You got it, sensei. Jiraiya placed his hand on one of the seals and they all seemed to disappear. As they opened the door, they were surprised to see the members of the Hidden Leaf Council standing in the doorway. Hello Tsunade, how good of you to have come back. A man with bandages around his eye and a missing arm said. Danzo, what is the meaning of this? Hiruzen questioned his old friend. We received reports that two of our Sannin had returned and now we find a strange child as well. Hiruzen, you have been keeping secrets from us. We have called a village council meeting and we expect you all to be there. Michio, Homura, Kaharu, you all agree? I'm sorry Hiruzen, but Danzo showed us the files on the boy. Michio said to his old friend. What, that was not public information. Tsunade yelled angrily. And the public hasn't yet seen it, Princess Tsunade. But you had no right keeping that information from the council, so now they have all been informed. We will discuss this later Danzo, this isn't over. Oh, I wouldn't dream of hit Hiruzen. In the hospital, Tenzo was unconscious and lying down in his bed. Next to him was a small bonsai tree left by Kakashi. As the teen gently kept a steady breath in his sleep, his chakra began to flare. The bonsai tree began to grow ever so slightly. His eyes opened, revealing a forest green glow. Danzo sat at the foot of a long table, to his right sat Homura and Kaharu and to his left sat Michio. On Michio's left sat the Shinobi Clan Council, which was made by the heads of the noble clans of Konoha. They were Shuza Akamichi, Shibi Aburame, Hiyashi Hyuga, Sume Inuzuka, Shikaku Nara, Fugaku, Uchiha, and Inoichi Yamanaka. On Kaharu's right sat the Konoha District Council, civilians elected to run each of the Leaf Village's 7 districts. They were Daiki Sato of District 1, Ryota Ito of District 2, Rina Shimizu of District 3, Hiroki Tanaka of District 4, Mibuki Haruno of District 5, Chihiro Agawa of District 6, and Yusuke Yamada of District 7. All of the council members sat patiently waiting for Hiruzen Sarutobi to enter. They had not had a large meeting of the council since the death of the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze. Hiruzen walked into the council room along with Jiraiya and Tsunade, as well as 4 of his Anbu operatives who would sit on each corner of the room. He sat down wearing his red and white robes and took off his hat. Tsunade sat on his left while Jiraiya sat on his right. So you all wanted a meeting to be held, here I am. As 3rd Hokage of the Hidden Leaf, I hereby start the meeting of councils. Who would like to begin? Danzo stood up much to Hiruzen's dismay. Okay Danzo, you may begin. Thank you Lord Hiruzen. We called this meeting to discuss matter of great importance to the entire village. A matter that you, Hiruzen, neglected to inform any of us about. The return of the 9 Tails Jinchuriki. Sorry to interrupt you Danzo, but I do believe that the child has a name. It is Naruto Namikaze, as you are all aware. Naruto Namikaze is dead. Lord Hokage, he died alongside his mother and father. That is what you told us 6 years ago. The civilian council member Daiki stated. At that point that is what I believed to be true. I was wrong, and he has indeed been returned to us today. As I have been made aware, you have all been shown his medical report. About that, how can you be sure that this is indeed the same boy? According to the report, he has the DNA of several powerful clans. Not just the 4th, and Kushina. Rina jumped in. If you knew anything about medical reports then you would know. Yes, he has cells from other clans infused within him. But his chromosomes and genetics indicate that he is indeed Minato and Kushina's child. Tsunade interjected. You are not a member of this council Tsunade. Please be silent unless called upon. Kaharu angrily exclaimed. As the last of the Senju, one of the 2 founding clans, and granddaughter of the 1st Hokage, not to mention the world's premier specialist in medical ninjutsu, and the one who found the boy in the first place, I do believe she is entitled to speak and vote along with these proceedings Kaharu. Michio stated to his fellow advisor. I agree with Michio. Hiyashi Hyuga stated. As do I. Shikaku agreed. So be it. Homura finished. Tsunade, you may continue. Thank you. As I was saying, I have thoroughly studied the files that you were all given and I can give you my professional opinion that Naruto is in fact, with 100% certainty, the child of Minato and Kushina. I can accept that fact Princess Tsunade. Danzo said. But is it true that Orochimaru is responsible for the boy's current state? Yes Danzo, that is true. Hiruzen admitted. Then is it possible that Orochimaru created the boy from the DNA of his parents? He doesn't necessarily have to be their actual child that was born on October 10, 6 years ago. May I speak? Jiraiya asked the council. I don't see why not, go ahead Jiraiya. Homura responded. If Minato's child had indeed been killed, the chakra of the 9-tailed fox would have dissipated and reformed in a decade or 2. Considering that it would have been impossible to collect all of the chakra and seal it into a new child at that point, I would say that proves that Naruto is in fact the same Naruto born from Kushina. He explained. Not to mention, I looked at the seal, and no one else, besides Minato, could have created that seal that was used. The masterwork is beyond even my own level. Well said Lord Jiraiya, Inoichi said to the Sannin. With this information that we have been given, I move that we fix the records of Naruto Namikaze and list him as alive. Sume Inuzuka spoke up. I second that motion. Shuza agreed. All in favor? Hiruzen asked aloud. All of the council leaders in attendance raised their hands in agreement. Motion has been passed. Now if that is all then I. Not so fast Hiruzen, there are other matters that we must consider. Danzo said aloud. What is it now Danzo? I have several questions that have been submitted to me that I would like to ask. The names of the questioners will not be given. First, is the 9-tailed fox safely sealed away? We do not want it to escape. The answer is yes, the seal is perfect. Naruto's chakra system and the foxes will merge until Naruto has complete control over all of the fox's chakra. The fox has no way of taking him over. Jiraiya answered. As a well-known seal master, I believe that we should listen to Lord Jiraiya. Shibi stated. Agreed. Danzo answered. Second, do you know how the experimentation on the boy will affect him? There is no way to tell at the moment. But negative effects are not likely at this point. He has lived through procedures no one else could have survived. But he could become a powerful asset to the village. Tsunade answered. Very good. That brings me to questions 3, 4 and 5. Where will he live? Who will take care of him? And will he become a shinobi? Is it true that he has Uchiha blood in him? Fugaku asked. Yes. Tsunade answered. Then I believe that the Uchiha clan should take him. Absolutely not. The Hyuga clan will not allow you to take him. You will just use him for your own power. Hiashi spoke out. How dare you accuse me of such a thing? If I may, Lord Hokage, the boy also has Senju blood, and Uzumaki blood, am I correct? Shikaku asked. Yes, his mother was Kushina Uzumaki, and Orochimaru gave him Senju DNA. Then why doesn't Lady Tsunade raise the boy? That is up to her. Hiruzen answered. Jiraiya has been listed as Naruto's godfather as well. I believe the best solution would be to leave him in my care, Lord Hokage. Danzo announced. Absolutely not. Tsunade shouted back. I will raise the boy to be a weapon for our village, the likes no one has seen before. Also, his blood needs to be researched. If we could give all of our shinobi his potential power, then our village would be unstoppable. The civilian council seemed to agree with the old warhawk. Naruto is not a science experiment, Danzo, nor is he a weapon to be used in such a way. He is the living, breathing, human son of our fourth Hokage, and will be treated as such. Tsunade was livid at Danzo's proposal. Tsunade, all ninja are weapons for their village. He responded. I move that Naruto be placed in my care. Danzo, do not try this. Not with Minato's child. I second that motion, Hiruzen. Homura responded. Fine. Hiruzen said, gritting his teeth. All in favor. Danzo's hand raised as well as Homura and Kaharu's. 6 of the civilian council's hands shot up. Mibuki, what are you doing? Yusuke asked. I don't believe that a child who has already lived through 6 years of hell should live through more. All opposed. Everyone else's hands raised into the air. Motion denied. I move that Tsunade Senju should raise the child. Jiraiya spoke out. You are not a member of this council, Jiraiya. Danzo quickly said. Fine, then I will make the motion. Michio said. Lord Michio? Fugaku questioned. Fugaku, you are a great head of our clan, but what this village needs is balance. The Uchiha cannot take too much power. It is bad for the village as a whole. Fugaku nodded to his father-in-law in respect. I second the motion. Hiashi Hyuga said aloud, earning a few astonished looks. All in favor? All of the shinobi council's hands raised high. Tsunade, Michio, Hiruzen and Mibuki also raised their hands. Majority rules, motion carried. Tsunade will take care of Naruto. Thank you, sensei. Tsunade said, slightly amazed that she now had to care for a child. I would like to make a request of you though, Tsunade. Hiruzen said. What is it, sensei? Naruto, I the son of Minato and Kushina, and as such I would like Hai to be raised within village walls. I want you to come back for good. I'll see how the village acts first, sensei. Understandable, though I was also hoping that you would open up a medical ninjutsu academy, as you wanted to before. We are no longer in a war, so we have the resources to do this. And there is no one better to run such a thing than you. Also you, my student, are the last living heir of the Senju clan. If not for your grandfather, this village would not exist. Therefore I hereby grant you a seat on the Shinobi Clan Council. Are you serious, sensei? Very serious, the Senju clan more than deserves it. Does any member of the Shinobi Clan Council disagree with this decision? They all shook their heads no to answer the Hokage. Then it is decided, the Senju clan will have their seat once again. I will do it, she said with a large smile. I am glad to hear it, Tsunade. Welcome back to the village. It has been too long. Dan, Nawaki, and your grandfather would be proud of you. Danzo was getting angry while watching the scene before him. Hiruzen continued to make the village weak in his eyes. I move for a vote of no confidence in Hiruzen Sarutobi as Hokage of our village. Everyone's heads turned on that note. Excuse me, Danzo? Hiruzen, you are no longer fit to wear that hat. I will not allow to weaken this village anymore. We should be the most powerful of any nation, but it cannot happen if you are Hokage. How dare you? Hiruzen asked, pissed off. I second this motion, Yusuke said aloud. If that is what you wish, then the motion will be voted on. All in favor? Danzo raised his hand, as did Yusuke, Chihiro, Daiki, and Hiroki. But they were alone in that regard. What is this? Danzo yelled. Danzo, Hiruzen has led this village well for many years, and while he may make decisions that we do not agree with sometimes, we would never want him to step down unless there was a truly viable candidate. Homura said to him. And you are most certainly not it. Kaharu agreed. Danzo, your motion is denied. How has it come to this, my friend? You are a weak old fool, Hiruzen. This village has the potential to be unstoppable. The will of fire is lost to you. The will of fire lives in all of us so long as we are prepared to lay down our lives for the safety of others. You Danzo have betrayed me greatly on this day. You call a meeting behind my back, try to steal power for your own benefits and goals, and attempted to overthrow me out of this position. I think that you have forgotten something, my friend. This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship, and I have the last say as to what happens within these walls. This council was created for the purpose of distributing power and helping the Hokage run the village, not to run the village themselves. I am sorry, my friend, but I hereby remove you from your position as advisor to the Hokage. I remove all rank and association to the shinobi of this village. You will live your days as a civilian, and if I find out that you have taken any action against this village's safety or order, then you will face the consequences of those actions. And they will be severe, let me promise you that, my old friend. You can't do that, Hiruzen. You need the council's approval. No, my friend, I do not. Anbu, remove Danzo from this room, please. Damn you, Hiruzen, Danzo said as an Anbu used the body flicker technique to teleport him from the room. Now is there anything else? Hiruzen, who will take Danzo's place? Kaharu asked. Jiraiya, I would be honored if you would do this. Sensei, I cannot stay in the village. I understand, but I still want you as my advisor. If that is your wish, then yes, when I am in the village I will be one of your advisors. Then I declare this meeting over. Everyone stood to leave the room. Many of the civilian council members were highly upset at the outcomes of the meeting. Congratulations, Tsunade, Jiraiya said as they left the room. Lady Tsunade. Shizune ran up to her with Naruto following. What happened? Tsunade bent down to speak with Naruto. Naruto, do you want to stay in the village? Yes, I do. Then you will stay. The blonde suddenly looked scared. But who will I stay with? What if Orochimaru comes for me? Naruto, you will be staying with me. And I will not let that snake lay a finger on you. Lady Tsunade, are you serious? We are staying in Konoha. Shizune asked with a wide smile upon her face. Yes, Shizune, we are staying. Tsunade, if I'm staying with you, does that make you my mom? Tsunade started to tear up at the idea of being a mother. She had thought that with Dan dead her time for that would never come. Yes, Naruto, I will be your mom. Naruto hugged on to Tsunade as tightly as possible as he began to cry. He had never been this happy before, and for the first time in his life he felt like he had a family. But then a thought came to his mind, a thought of an old friend that he missed. Mom, so you found me when I got away from Orochimaru, right? Yes, why Naruto? Did you find any of the other kids he had? No, I didn't, Sensei. Naruto, when we raided Orochimaru's underground labs, all of the kids we found were dead. Well, except one, but he was in a severe coma. Was it my brother? Naruto asked with hope in his eyes. Your brother? Lord Hokage. A nurse came running down the hallway. Lord Hokage, you need to come quickly. What is it? You just need to see this. Tsunade, please, we might need your medical expertise at the hospital. Hiruzen said to his student. Tsunade picked up Naruto as she and ran with the Hokage to the hospital. They heard a loud crash as they approached the building and saw a tree burst through the wall. What in Kami's name is that? Tsunade asked. Let's hurry. As they entered the hospital, another nurse came up to them. Sir, it's that boy that your Anbu brought in. He awoke from his coma and he just freaked out. What room? Second floor, room 221. Tsunade, let's go. They ran up the staircase and came up to his room. As they looked through the door, they couldn't believe what they were seeing. Tree branches and leaves began to elongate and twist all around the room as the teen cried out on his bed in fear. They could see his chakra becoming visible as the tree on his nightstand reacted. This is impossible. I've never seen something like this since. Hiruzen couldn't finish his sentence. Grandfather, Tsunade said to herself in shock at the power of wood release she was witnessing. Naruto jumped out of her arms and ran to the teen on the bed. He jumped up next to the boy and threw his arms around him. Brother, stop it. Don't be scared. Please. Bother, both Hiruzen and Tsunade thought at the same time. The teen opened his eyes and looked at Naruto and his chakra stopped flaring. The tree began to slowly shrink away and went back to its normal size. A large gaping hole remained either side of the hospital wall. Tsunade took a good look at the boy on the bed. He had short spiky brown hair and large eyes. But the thing was that they had a strange green glow to them, until the tree went back to normal, then they were black as black could be. 583, that you? Yeah, it's me brother, don't be afraid anymore, I don't like it. I'm sorry little brother. Excuse me Naruto ho is this? I didn't know that you had a brother. Tsunade said to the blonde. This is experiment 575. He looked out for me when Orochimaru had us, but now we are both free. Tsunade approached the boy. Do you know who you are or what has been done to you? I don't remember my real name. It's been so long. But I do know that Lord Orochimaru said he was trying to inject Hashirama Senju's cells into our bodies. Everyone else died though. I'm so glad that 583 here is safe though. My name is Naruto now brother. Naruto said. Tsunade this boy's name is Tenzo. He went missing when he was 5 years ago. He was a chunin at 7 which is probably why Orochimaru wanted him. Who were his parents? He was an orphan before that. Tsunade walked to the bed. Naruto still hugging his brother looked over to her. Can he live with us please? I don't want to lose him again. Of course he can, that is if he wants to. Yes, I don't want to leave my brother alone. Okay then Tenzo, you will live with me and Naruto. Naruto ran up and hugged Tsunade tight. Thanks mom. Tsunade started to cry as she heard Naruto call her mom. Excuse me, you called me Tenzo? Yes, that was your name before Orochimaru took you. Tsunade explained. And I didn't have a family before that? He asked her. No, afraid not. Then I want to change my name. What would you like to be called? Tsunade asked him. He thought for a few minutes and then looked up to her. Then my name will be Yamato, for that is what I will strive for, harmony. Sensei, I would like to adopt both Naruto and Yamato. Hiruzen smiled at his student. So be it Tsunade. Your compound is still available if you would like to move in. Thank you sensei. Come on you two, it's time to be a family. Naruto looked to Tsunade and Yamato and smiled. Family huh, that sounds great. He thought to himself. Congratulations, Naruto. A voice rang inside his head. Naruto, Tsunade, Yamato and Shizune walked out of the Hokage's tower. Tsunade had just signed the papers to adopt Yamato and Naruto as her children. Tsunade, after having noticed Naruto and Yamato's lack of decent clothing, decided that the first thing they needed to do was get some good cloths for her new sons. Tsunade led the group to a nearby store and walked up to the counter. Hello there, how can I help you're Tsunade Senju? The store clerk said as. Yes I am. Oh Kami, the great lady Tsunade in my store. How may I help you today? Well first off it's just Tsunade if you please, and second I need some new cloths for my two sons here. I didn't know you had children. The store clerk said surprised. I just adopted them, so can you help me? Of course right this way. Naruto was led to the children's section of the store and he looked all over for something that he liked. The clerk showed him many different styles of clothing that are colored blue, red, yellow, and even black. But none of it appealed to Naruto. He then saw a shirt that he really liked. What about this mom? He asked. The shirt was a simple t-shirt colored in a dark burnt orange. Are you sure about that color Naruto? Tsunade asked. Yes, I know it isn't a very shinobi-like color but for some reason I just feel drawn to it. Okay Naruto. Tsunade helped Naruto find the rest of his cloths and his current shirt got caught on a bar from a cloths rack and it tore a bit. She saw a strange white mark on his shoulder so when he went to the dressing room she had him take his shirt off. He had a strange series of scars that marked his skin from his upper left pectoral muscle, over his left shoulder and down his arm to his elbow. She could only think that whatever Orochimaru did to him, had forever scarred her son. In the end Naruto had picked out a pair of black pants and black sandals, his dark orange shirt and a white hoodie that he left unzipped. Yamato chose to wear a pair of black pants, a dark green shirt and a brown vest over top of it. He had been asked by the third Hokage if he would like to rejoin the shinobi force, and he agreed. So he would be jumping back into his training as soon as he could. Hiruzen told him that he should expect a set of Chunin shinobi cloths within the next few days. Tsunade paid for the clothes and then ordered several more sets of each to be made. She then bent down to Naruto's level. Are you ready to go home now, Naruto? Yes, Mom. Good, then when we get there we have a few things we need to talk about. Is it about what Orochimaru did to me? Tsunade had to smile at the statement. She was always amazed at the maturity Naruto was able to exhibit, but she also hoped he would lose a little of it and enjoy the rest of his childhood. Yes, it is Naruto, among other things. Okay Mom, let's get home then. The little blonde said with a smile. Shizune. Yes, Lady Tsunade? You can stop calling me that now, Shizune. You're more like a daughter to me than an assistant, you know. Sorry Tsunade, what did you need? Take this list and get the things on it. Feel free to use my savings, you know all of the information on them anyways. What is this for Tsunade? Today is a very important day, Shizune. Have it all ready by 7. That gives you about 3.5 hours. Okay, I'll get it done. I'll help her out if you want. Yamato said to Tsunade. Thank you Yamato, but it's for you too. Yamato stepped towards Shizune and smiled at his new mom. I know exactly what is going on, and I want to help. Tsunade smiled and nodded to her new son. He and Shizune walked off in the opposite direction. Now let's go home, Naruto. Shizune and Yamato stopped by the several shops to get everything on Tsunade's list. With an hour and a half left, the two were heading away from the Uchiha compound back to the Senju compound. So how long have you known Naruto for? Shizune asked Yamato. A little over 2 years. I found him crying one day in his cell during a prisoner exchange. I had just been moved to that hideout and I was surprised to see a 3-year-old. Has he always been so old for his age? A lot of that comes from the way he was raised. It's sad really, but I can tell that he is already happier with you and Tsunade. I'm glad that we found him. He really has changed her so quickly. I almost can't believe it. That's my little brother for you. Orochimaru and Kabuto were the only ones who seemed to be unaffected by his presence. Kabuto? Kabuto is Orochimaru's assistant. I don't know his last name, but he is an extraordinary medical ninja. Especially for his age. How old is he? A year younger than me, so 12. Well, I'm glad that Naruto had you at least. The two continued their walk towards the Senju compound in silence. Shizune could tell that living with Yamato would be interesting, especially with his wood release abilities. Tsunade and Naruto entered the old dusty house. It had not been kept up on since no one had lived there for several years. But it seemed that her old sensei had decided to assist them with the cleaning, as a few minutes later there was a knocking at the door. Hello? Hello Lady Tsunade. We received a D-ranked mission to help get your estate cleaned up. There were 2 genin teams outside her door and she smirked evilly. Well, thanks for coming. I hope your genin are fit for the job. Tsunade worked the genin teams to the bone and within 2 hours she knew the place would be clean enough for her plans. Naruto, would you follow me? Yes, Mom. Tsunade led her son up to a room with a bed. The room was blank as it had not been used in many years, but Tsunade knew that this was once her brother Nawaki's room. It had been used in many years, and after seeing how barren it was, Tsunade shed a tear. Mom, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine, Naruto. This will be your bedroom. Tomorrow we can go and get you proper furniture for your room. We don't need to, Mom. This is already better than my cell that Orochimaru kept me in, he said with a big smile on his face. Tsunade had to hold in her anger at her old teammate. Naruto, you don't live with him anymore and I am going to give you everything that you deserve to have. And that includes a proper bedroom. Naruto hugged Tsunade's legs. He truly felt like this could be his home now. We have some things to discuss, Naruto. Naruto sat down on his bed and Tsunade followed. She laced her hand on his shoulder and pulled him closer to her. Naruto, you said before that you knew that the 9-tailed fox was inside of you? Kurama, yeah, I talk to him sometimes. He is real big but not that scary. You talk to him? Yeah. Tsunade was intrigued by that but felt that she should continue. Do you know how he got there? Orochimaru told me that the 4th Hokage sealed him inside of me, to punish me. But I don't think Kurama is a punishment. Naruto, do you know who your parents are? My birth parents? Yes, she answered. Naruto looked to the floor. Tsunade could tell that it was a sore subject for him. Orochimaru said that they abandoned me, that they didn't love me, which is why he adopted me as his own. But Kurama said they were dead and that he kidnapped me. I asked him if he knew who they were, but he said it wasn't time for him to tell me. Naruto, normally we wouldn't have told you about this because of the backlash you might face, but the village thought that you were dead. Because of that your existence was made public, and now that you are back there isn't any point in keeping the truth from you. So you would have lied to me? He asked curiously. I'm afraid so. Not really a lie, but we wouldn't have told you the real story. Naruto smiled up at his mom, which she found strange. It's okay mom, I know you would have just been trying to protect me. Do you want to know who your real parents were, Naruto? As long as you are okay with telling me mom. Tsunade could tell that inside he was begging to find out, but he didn't want to make it seem so. Of course I will, Naruto. Your mother was named Kushina Uzumaki, and she was a powerful ninja. They called her the Red Hot Habanero because of her temper and power. She was a fiery spirit, all right. Did you know her well? Naruto asked. Not as well as I would have hoped, but she was a friend of mine. She was also the previous holder of the nine-tailed fox. Kurama was inside of her too? He asked, clearly shocked at the statement. He never told you? Naruto shook his head sadly. He must have wanted to wait till he was ready to tell you. Who is my father? Tsunade looked out of the window nearby and she could see the Hokage monument. His name was Minato Namikaze, also known as Konoha's Yellow Flash. She looked into Naruto's eyes and she could see him calculating something in his head. The Yellow Flash, but that would make him the fourth Hokage. She answered for him. Naruto realized that it meant that his father sealed Kurama into him. But if Kurama was in his mother, then why did he seal it into his son? Are you okay, Naruto? Yes, but I'm confused. He answered. He asked her about the sealing. 6 years ago on October 10th, the nine-tailed fox broke free of your mother's seal. We don't know how it happened, or why, but we do know that he attacked the Leaf Village afterwards. A tailed beast cannot be killed, it will just be reborn in a decade or two and it will be much more dangerous. In the end your father had to seal the fox into a newborn child whose chakra coils could handle the immense chakra. He chose his newborn son, you Naruto, to protect the village from the fox. But then, today is October 10th, so does that mean? Today is your 6th birthday, Naruto. As she said this she saw tears in his eyes. What's wrong? I never knew what my birthday was. Orochimaru always said that I wasn't worthy of having one. Well, from now on you are more that worthy of the life that you deserve, Naruto. I need to ask you one more thing. What is it, mom? He asked, smiling up at her. You have a choice that you can make. You were born Naruto Namikaze. Had Orochimaru not taken you, you would have been raised as Naruto Uzumaki. But I adopted you, so if you want you can be Naruto Senju. The choice is completely up to you, which last name you take. Naruto sat in silence for a moment. He wanted to honor his parents, but he also didn't want to hurt his new mom. In the end he smiled up at her. Can I be Naruto Senju Namikaze? That way I can honor my lineage and you, mom. Tsunade pulled her son into a hug. If that is what you want, Naruto, then yes. She knew that downstairs Shizune would be ready for Naruto, so she pulled back. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? If not, we have something for you downstairs. Can I be alone for a moment, mom? I need to do something real quick, then I will be down soon. Sure, Naruto, take as much time as you need. As she turned to leave and closed the door, Naruto got off of the bed and sat on the ground beneath the window. He crossed his legs and began to meditate as the world around him went dark. He opened his eyes to see the familiar sewer around him, and walked towards his companion's cage. He found the large room with the bars towering in front of him. Red eyes looked back at him, though they were also kind. So you have come to speak to me again. I was afraid that you wouldn't need to anymore. Kurama, I will always talk to you, but I have a few questions for you now. And what do you require of me, Naruto? The blonde sat down in front of the cage. Was my mom your container before me? So Tsunade told you the truth then? Yes, so is it true? Kushina Uzumaki was indeed my jailer before you. And you escaped on the day of my birth? A female Jinchuriki is most vulnerable when giving birth. I wasn't going to leave until an Uchiha used his Sharingan to pull me from your mother's seal. He casts a jutsu on me that put me under his control and forced me to attack the village. Naruto let all of the information soak into his brain before he continued. So you didn't want to attack Konoha? No, I didn't. Unlike popular belief, wheat-tailed beasts are not mindless heartless drones who thrive in destruction. Naruto smiled at Kurama's sarcasm. So do you know how my parents died? I will tell you Naruto, out of my respect for you, but you will hate me when I am done. I could never hate you Kurama. We shall see. The fox lay on the ground of his cage before he began. Your father successfully stopped my attack on Konoha and destroyed the Uchiha's control over me. I was afraid and I rage afterwards and I saw your father attempting to seal me. I don't know what I was thinking but I tried to stab you with my claws, and they got in the way to save you. Your parents died trying to keep you safe because they loved you. And I killed them because I was afraid and wanted to stay free from my prison. I can never take back what I did but I do regret the pain it has caused you. Naruto felt tears in his eyes. His parents had loved him so much that they died to protect him. And Kurama was the one responsible. He should have been furious. Naruto stood up and walked to the open bars and saw the tears Kurama tried to hide. He reached his hand inside the bars and placed his palm upon Kurama's snout. Kurama, I am angry that they are dead by your hands, but I do not hate you. I understand the feeling of wanting to be free from a cell, and I have only been in one for 6 years. How long must you have been trapped? I forgive you Kurama, and I am sure that my parents would too. Kurama was floored by Naruto's compassion and he made a silent vow to forever do everything within his power to keep the blonde safe from harm. Thank you Naruto. I will be back later but I need to go see what my mom needed okay. I will be your kid. Naruto smiled at the nickname as he knew what it meant. He closed his eyes and when they opened he was back in his room. He stood up and wiped the tears in his eyes away. He opened his door and walked down the stairs, but when he got there he was surprised by what he saw. Tsunade, Shizune, Yamato, Jiraiya, and the third Hokage were waiting for him and there were colorful boxes wrapped in paper and bows on a table nearby. There was also a large orange cake on the table and a banner that hung above. Happy birthday Naruto. Tsunade-san, and she saw a bigger smile on his face than she would have ever thought possible. What is all this? He asked. We decided that you should have a small party to celebrate your birthday, as well as your return to Konoha. Jiraiya said to the blonde. But why would you do all this for me? Tsunade walked over to him and knelt down. Naruto, everyone here loves you and wanted to make this day special for you. But you adopted me mom, nothing could be more special than that. He said to her. Tsunade pulled him into a hug and realized for the first time in her life what she truly should have wanted out of life. She spent so much time trying to fill the emptiness within her by gambling and drinking away the pain. But this boy made all of that unnecessary. Are you okay mom? You're kind of crushing me? I'm just happy to have you for a son, now come on over and open up your presents. Naruto began to open up the boxes on the table. Jiraiya had given him a large plush toad that he could easily sit on top of. Hiruzen gave him a picture of his parents while Kushina was pregnant with him. And the rest of the presents were various toys and clothes as well as a book on basic shinobi concepts. Mom, what is this book for? Do you want to be a ninja Naruto, like your parents before you? Being a ninja would mean that I could protect you, right mom? Well yes Naruto, but your mom isn't exactly the one to need protecting. Naruto smiled at her and said, I will be the greatest ninja ever and one day I will be the Hokage of this village just like my dad was. That way I can protect all of you. I finally have a family and I won't let anyone take that away from me. That sounds like a great dream kid. Jiraiya said to him. As they ate cake and talked amongst themselves a knocking came from the front door and Naruto ran over to it. He opened the door to see a couple of familiar faces as well as a couple unfamiliar ones. Hi Sasuke, hi Itachi, who is that with you? The brothers looked to their parents. Hello Naruto, I am Fugaku, and this is my wife Makoto. We are Sasuke and Itachi's parents and we were also friends of your parents. Naruto just smiled as Tsunade walked over to the door. Naruto let them inside. Oh sorry mom, you guys come in and have some cake. It's my birthday today. We know that Naruto, that's why we came. Sasuke said as he rolled his eyes. Sasuke, don't be rude, Itachi said as he bumped him in the head with 2 fingers. Sorry, we brought you this. Sasuke handed Naruto a box as he walked into the house with his family. Sorry we're late Lady Tsunade. Makoto said. Don't worry about it and please just call me Tsunade. We were happy to receive the invitation, especially after the rocky start today with the council. I figured Naruto could use a friend his own age, and who better than the son of his parents' friends, right? Mom, look, Naruto had opened his present and inside was a child set of ninja gear. Good, now you can train and become a strong ninja, Naruto. You bet, I'll be the strongest. Tsunade loved seeing him act more like the child he really was. She hoped it would stick around. Yeah, but you won't be stronger than me, I'm an Uchiha. I am a Senju Namikaze. The two boys looked at each other with similar grins. They knew that they had found both a friend and a rival in the other. Everyone else just shook their heads. This is the best day ever. Naruto thought to himself. Yamato was sitting alone in the middle of the forest meditating. It had been 1 month since his reintroduction into Konoha, and already rumors of his abilities were spread throughout the village. Tsunade had watched over him as he tried to rediscover his ninja abilities, and they all came back rather naturally for him, as if he had never forgotten them, or even stopped being a ninja. Most surprising was his subsequent control over the wood release jutsu. As he meditated in the woods, he could feel the gentle call of nature, and he began a daily exercise he had developed. He began to breathe at nature's pace, and he attempted to see how far into the woods he could sense. He could almost feel the trees as they sway in the wind. He felt as if he had become rooted to the ground and intertwined with the delicate system in the dirt. Each blade of grass was a hair on his head, and each branch an arm or leg. It all felt so peaceful, so surreal. Yamato? The connection broke as another person landed in the clearing next to him. He opened his eyes to see a masked shinobi with one Sharingan eye staring at him. He looked around him, and a few trees had begun to grow and circle around where he sat. Hello, Kakashi-senpai. Are you ready for our mission? Yes, I was just centering myself. It is my first one after all. Yamato's skills had been so impressive that the third had asked him to join the Leaf Village's Enbu Black Ops. He agreed and was placed under the command of Kakashi Hitaki. For the past 2 weeks Kakashi had been teaching him, and Yamato just soaked up the information. And today was an exceedingly special day for him, as it would be his first mission alongside his Anbu squad. But it was also one of the most terrifying. He had not been on the line of duty as a shinobi as far as he could remember. Would he mess up, or get his team killed out there? Would he see his brother again? He didn't know the answer, but he knew he needed to brave the challenge. Kakashi had been given the command of his very own Anbu squad, which was made up of newer members, whom also happened to be extraordinarily talented. Yamato followed his captain, whom he had much respect for, to the team's meeting point. When he got there, he took note of the other 3 members of the Anbu squad. All of them wore the same standard issue outfit. The first member was a purple-haired woman who was named Yugo Izuki, and he knew that she was one of Konoha's top kenjutsu wielders. The second was the youngest member of the group, Itachi Uchiha, who was a specialist in genjutsu, as well as being deadly with taijutsu and ninjutsu, but his Sharingan eyes were his deadliest weapon. The final member of the team was a girl whom Yamato had heard of many times, but never actually met. She was the apprentice of his former kidnapper, Orochimaru. Anko Mitarashi, who, like her teacher, was proficient in the use of snake summoning and snake-related ninjutsu. She was also highly adept at interrogation techniques. Okay, listen up you 4. From now on we will be known as Team RO. When on duty your names no longer exist. You will wear your Anbu mask at all times. This is to protect yourself and your loved ones. I am your captain, and I have only one thing to say. Those who abandon their mission are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are worse than trash. He walked over to each member and gave them their codename. Yugo, you will be Neko. Anko, you will be Habi. Itachi, your name is Karasu. And Yamato, you will be called Mori. Now you will call me Captain Inu. Our first mission as a squad is the capture of a rogue ninja cell. They are to be interrogated if possible, and killed either after the interrogation or on sight. Use good judgment on your targets. Here is a file on the shinobi you will most likely come up against. Kakashi passed around the file to his team. Once they all had their look, he continued. We have 4 days to complete this mission. Most of you are newer to Anbu, and for that reason our comrades in the Black Ops division don't think we can make that deadline. So I want to show them that they underestimate us. Let's get it done in 2, shall we? The team smirked at Kakashi, excited for their challenge, and ready to prove themselves. Masks on, we leave now. And with that, Team RO began their first mission. Naruto sat in his room reading a new book. He had been in Konoha with his new family for about a month now, and he was saddened by the fact that Yamato was on a mission. For the past few weeks he had been training almost non-stop, so he couldn't spend much time with Naruto. As much as he hated to admit it, Naruto was kind of afraid to branch out and meet new people. He had become friends with Sasuke, but that seemed to be as far as he could push himself. Naruto? Tsunade walked into his room to see him sitting in the middle of the floor. She looked at the book and read the title, A Beginner's Guide to Fuinjutsu. Part of her was happy that he seemed to be so interested and dedicated to becoming a shinobi, but she also wanted him to have his childhood. Naruto, why don't you go out today? I'm fine, Mom. I just started reading this new book Uncle Jiraiya sent me. Why don't you go see if Sasuke wants to play? I don't really want to go outside, Mom. Tsunade took a deep breath. As much as she didn't want to force him, she knew it wasn't healthy for him to be cooped up indoors all of the time. I'm not asking Naruto. Go outside, go to the park. Shizune will take you to Sasuke's to get him too. You need to get out of the house more. She could see that Naruto was uncomfortable and it pained her. But she knew that it was the right thing to do. But a smile came to her face as she knew exactly how to get him going. If you go play and make at least one new friend today, I will take you and any friends you make to Ichiraku's for ramen. Before she even finished the sentence, Naruto dropped the book and ran to get his hoodie on. Naruto had fallen in love with what he called Kami's gift to mankind when Tsunade stopped there one day after shopping with him. The old man who ran the little ramen stand was named Tucci, and his younger daughter Ayame, who was 12, had given them a discount for the day as Kushina used to be one of his best customers and they had just loved Naruto. Tsunade found out the hard way though that Naruto could just about eat his weight in ramen. I'll be back later, Mom. He yelled out. Tsunade wasn't too concerned about letting him go off on his own. He may have been 6, but he was fairly self-sufficient for his age. That and the third Hokage always had a member of Enbu watching over him in case Orochimaru tried to send someone after him. Naruto walked down the street towards the Uchiha compound. He noticed some people would smile at him as he walked by, and many other would glare at him. He didn't get upset by it because he understood why. When the announcement was made that he was indeed alive and had returned to Konoha, most of the villagers were happy that the only child of their beloved fourth Hokage was alive and well. The rest of them still saw the demon fox that took away their loved ones 6 years ago when they looked at him. He would never condemn them for their ignorance on sealing, because he felt sorry for the pain that Kurama had caused them, intentionally or not. When Naruto finally arrived at the compound, he saw the 2 guards standing at the entrance. They were dressed in the Konoha ninja police uniform and he thought they looked cool. "Hello, officers," he said to them. They smirked at the nickname the boy had given them for the moment he realized what they did. "Hello, Naruto. You here for Captain Fugaku's kid again?" "Yeah, can I go in?" "No making trouble." They let him pass and he ran up the street to his friend's house. Makoto was outside working on a small garden when she saw the blonde approaching. "Oh, hello, Naruto." "Hi, Lady Makoto." "Naruto, how many times do I have to tell you not to call me that?" she said as she shook her head and put her hand to her forehead. "You are the wife of the noble Uchiha clan's head. It is respectful," he stated officially. "Yes, but I also consider you family, so no more Lady Makoto, okay?" "Yes, ma'am. Can Sasuke come play? Mom wants me to go to the park, and I don't really want to go alone." She smiled at Naruto. She thought his shyness was adorable. "How about I take both of you there? Would you like that, Naruto?" "Yes, please." "Okay, then let me go get Sasuke." Team RO had maintained a fast pace and within 10 hours they were able to find the town in the Land of Fire where the missing ninja had been spotted. They stopped about a mile outside to keep their distance. Kakashi took point and the rest sat to rest for a moment. Kakashi bit his thumb and made a few hand signs. Summoning jutsu. He slammed his hand on the tree trunk he stood on and in a puff of smoke a small brown dog with goggles and a cape sat looking up to him. "Hey there, Pakun, I need your help." "Hey, Captain Inu, who's the dog?" Anko asked. "Who are calling a cute little puppy, huh?" Pakun asked with a glare. "I didn't say anything about a cute puppy." She responded confused. Yamato had to stop himself from laughing at Anko's confusion. He remembered what he had been told about the seriousness of missions and he wanted to be completely professional while on a mission. "This is Pakun and he is one of my summoned ninja hounds. He will be tracking our missing ninja." "Okay, Kakashi, do you have their scent?" Kakashi handed the dog a piece of cloth. Pakun smelled it and picked up a trail nearby. Pakun, report back when you find them, or in 3 hours, whichever comes first, okay? You got it, Kakashi. Keep Snake Girl in line, will ya? Pakun took off running after insulting Anko. Stupid mutt. Yamato decided to try meditating again to keep his mind clear for the mission. He crossed his legs and balanced on the branch as he meditated. He could feel the energy of the tree as it coursed from the nutrients in the soil, into the root system of the trunk, and throughout the tree's branches and leaves. Yamato wasn't sure how long he was connected to the tree for, but a nearby presence stopped his concentration. Mori, you okay over here? Yamato looked to see Itachi standing nearby him. Yeah, Karasu, why do you ask? Well, your branch is covered in flowers and the wood warped around you a bit. Yamato looked around him and saw that the tree branch grew around him, creating a sort of chair that molded to his body as he meditated, and indeed it was covered with flowers. Wow, good going, nature boy. Anko said with a slight amount of venom in her voice. You really do have the wood release of the first Hokage. Yugo said, slightly amazed. Kakashi walked over to Yamato and looked him in the eyes. You need to keep your chakra under control. We don't need anyone noticing us because you morphed the trees out here. Yes, Captain Inu. As Kakashi walked away, Itachi sat next to Yamato. How are you feeling about Enbu, Yamato? The training was intense, and I do enjoy being part of the team. But I know that Naruto misses me. Sasuke is the same, but at least they have each other as friends to keep them busy. I was afraid that Sasuke wouldn't make friends as he can be a little big-headed about our clan. I hope Naruto can help get him out of that mindset. If anyone can, it's Naruto. Gather around, guys, Kakashi said just loud enough for everyone to hear him. Pakun sat next to him on the bench. Everyone quickly formed up with him, awaiting their orders. Okay, Pakun, go ahead. The base is about 10 miles northwest of here. I smelled roughly 10 ninja in there, with most being around Chunin level if their chakra is correct. 2 of them are most likely Jonin. Thanks, Pakun, you did well. See ya later, Kakashi. Pakun disappeared in a puff of smoke. Okay, you guys, here's the plan. Naruto and Sasuke laughed as they spoke to each other. They had both been reading up on shinobi arts, so they felt like they were going to become better ninja. Makoto listened to the boys' conversation and smiled at their childlike views. So Naruto, how are you holding up with Yamato being gone on missions? Well, I do miss him, but I'm glad that he made Anbu. I am afraid that Orochimaru is going to come for him though. Naruto had told Sasuke all about his time with the Snake Sannin. He felt like he could trust his friend. Yeah, I miss Itachi too. He doesn't have time to help me train or anything anymore. But I'm proud that I have such a strong brother. You know what this means, right, Sasuke? What? We just need to be better ninja than they're then. That will show them, don't you think? Naruto said with a large grin on his face. Naruto, you're such a loser sometimes. Sasuke said as he laughed. Shut up, Sasuke, you jerk. Naruto laughed back. Makoto just rolled her eyes at the boys' antics. Up ahead was the park, so Naruto and Sasuke ran off ahead to play. They saw a bunch of other kids, but the one who really piqued their curiosity was a boy who was laying down and looking up into the sky. Naruto walked up to him and looked down at the kid's face. He had a haircut that looked like a pineapple on his head. What are you doing? Naruto asked. I'm watching the clouds. Why? Sasuke asked as he walked up. It's relaxing. There are so many troublesome things around here, so I like to watch clouds. Doesn't it get boring? Asked Naruto. Nope. The boy looked at Naruto and Sasuke's confused faces. Just lay down and join me, you will see what I mean. So Naruto and Sasuke lay down on the grass and just watched clouds. Naruto felt that it was odd how relaxed he really did feel. There were no troubles going on anymore, just him and the clouds. Wow, you're smart for doing this. Shikamaru. What? My name is Shikamaru Nara. I'm Sasuke Uchiha. And I'm Naruto Senju Namikaze. Shikamaru sat up and looked at the 2 newcomers. So you're the son of Fugaku, and you're the 4th Hokage's son. Well, today just got more eventful. What a drag. And you are from the Nara clan. Sasuke pointed out. Your dad is the greatest strategist in the village. Yeah, that's my dad. So what are you 2 doing? Well, we were just looking for people to play with. As it seems my cloud watching is over for the day, you 2 should follow me, I guess. I have some friends you can meet. Okay, Naruto said a little more excitedly. Shikamaru led the two kids over to another area of the park. They saw three kids sitting there. One was slightly chubby and had a bag of potato chips in his hands. The second was wearing a pair of sunglasses and had on a white shirt. He seemed to be watching a colony of ants at work. The third was standing around with a smug look on his face as if he was the man in charge. He also had red triangle marks on his cheeks. "Hey Shikamaru, who's that with you?" the chubby kid asked. "Choji, this is Naruto and Sasuke. Choji Akamichi," the chubby kid said as he stood up and offered his hand. "Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto Senju Namikaze." The three kids looked up in shock at Naruto's name. They stood up and hurried over to him. "You're Naruto Namikaze?" Choji asked. "Naruto Senju Namikaze," he corrected. "You are the fourth Hokage's child," the one with glasses stoically said. "Yeah, that's him," Shikamaru answered. "He doesn't look so strong," the third kid said with a scoff. "And you are?" Sasuke asked. "Kiba Inuzuka. I'm the next head on my clan," he said with a big head. "That's awesome," Naruto said, trying to be friendly. "And what's your name?" he asked the kid with glasses. "I am Shino Aburame." "Well, Choji, Shino, Kiba, you guys want to play with us?" Naruto asked. They all agreed and the six of them played various games for the next few hours. Makoto caught up with the other boys' mothers while their kids all played. Kaizen Yonoma was at his post watching out for any intruders. He had been at it for the past 6 hours and was staring to get tired. He heard a rustling in the trees. He jumped to attention, ready to alert the rest of the camp. But it was just a crow flying out of the forest. He put his kunai away and looked at the bird. As he saw the bird's red eye, it was all over. Kaizen threw himself off of the watchtower and he fell 50 feet to his death. "Good job, Karasu. Now for step 2, Neko, hubby, infiltrate and take out any other guards." Anko ran up to the wooden wall of the campsite. She channeled chakra into her feet and began to run up the side and jumped over the rest of the way. As she landed, she saw two shinobi sitting at a fire laughing and drinking. Looking to her left, she saw Yugo as well, and after signing that she was ready, the two struck. Anko summoned a small snake, which slithered its way to the first man and bit his ankle, injected him with a paralysis poison, and knocking him out. The second man stood up afraid as he saw the snake. As he tried to run, he stepped on a wire and found himself caught in a trap. He became wrapped up in ninja wire and felt a hard blow to the back of his head, knocking him unconscious. "Guards are incapacitated," Yugo said into her radio. "Good job, you two," Kakashi said. He, Yamato, and Itachi entered the camp and all five approached 5 different tents. Kakashi entered the first tent and tied up the sleeping ninja after identifying him as Ryo Nakamura Chunin, missing ninja from the hidden grass village. Anko again had her snake make sure that the guy in her tent didn't wake up. Yugo followed Kakashi's lead and bound her prisoner. Itachi cast a genjutsu on his target so that he wouldn't awaken. Yamato entered his target's tent and found the man asleep as well. We waved through hand signs. Wood style. Entrapping roots jutsu. Tree root began to entangle his target, and as the man woke up and tried to speak, they gagged him. "Target is secure," he said into his radio. "That leaves only 2 more. Let's go to the last tent." As the group approached the last tent, a large fireball shot out at them. "Move now," Kakashi yelled out. The group dodged as 2 shinobi jumped out from inside the tent. Both were wearing similar red shinobi clothing and both had forehead protectors with the insignia of the Hidden Rock Village scratched out. These are the Odaki brothers. They were rare users of fire and earth-style jutsu. They are Jonin level, so be careful, Kakashi said to the group. The first brother flashed through hand signs and shot a flurry of fireballs at the group. Water style. Water wall jutsu. Yamato created a large wall of water that turned the fire into steam. The second brother ran around the wall of water, and as he did, Yugo engaged him with her sword. He was on the defensive, diving out of the way of her strikes, and then he burrowed under the ground. "Neko off the ground now," Itachi yelled out, and she jumped right as he tried to pull her under. Ninja art. Striking shadow snakes. Anko shot a swarm of snakes from her arm that impacted with the ninja in the ground, forcing him out, and as he was in the air, Yugo came down upon him. Sword art. Moonlit night slash. The man looked on in shock as her sword seemed to multiply as it came down on him. Not knowing which way to dodge, he didn't move, and Yugo delivered a non-lethal, but immobilizing blow to him and H fell to the ground bloodied. The other brother continues to fire jutsu after jutsu at Kakashi, Yamato, and Itachi. Unable to keep it up, he started to grow tired and Kakashi made the most of his opponent's weakness. Ninja Art. Fanged Pursuit Jutsu. A swarm of his summoned dogs burst from the ground around the enemy shinobi and they bit down all over his body, keeping him in place and in pain. Great job, team. Now Anko, Itachi, if you would please. Anko smiled sadistically as she approached her first victim, ready to make him spill his guts. As Kakashi heard the screams, he smiled and considered the mission to be his team's first success. He walked over to Yamato, who was sitting down after using so much chakra to build his walls. Good work, Mori. I was impressed today. Sorry for giving you trouble before, but I had to make sure that you learned from potential mistakes. Thank you, Captain Inu. It was a pleasure working under you. Just wait, Mori, just wait. Tsunade arrived at the park and she smiled at what she saw. Naruto was playing with 5 other boys, including Sasuke, and they all seemed to be from major shinobi clans too. Naruto saw his mom and ran over to her with a smile on his face, and she hoped that his fear and nervousness would be going away. Hey mom, I made 4 friends today. I can see that. I'm happy for you. You know what that means, right? What? Then it dawned on her that she had forgotten her promise. We all get Ichirakus. He yelled out to his 5 friends. I have to buy ramen for 6 young boys, one of which is my son who eats his weight in ramen, and Anther looks like an Akamichi. My wallet is doomed. Naruto stood in front of the building where he would spend the next 4 years. In front of him was the Konoha Ninja Academy. He had been preparing for this day over the past 2 years, and finally he was old enough to join his friends as they began their journey to become shinobi of the Hidden Leaf. Naruto had grown over 2 years, and in that time he had adjusted to his new life quite well. Sasuke remained his best and closest friend. He could relate to the fame that Naruto had learned to deal with. Naruto also grew closer with Shikamaru, and both would just sit and watch the clouds at times. Sasuke couldn't sit still for too long to keep up with them. Shikamaru also seemed to be incredibly intelligent and good with strategy. His favorite game was shogi, and Naruto would play with him. Shikamaru almost always won, save for a rare few instances where Naruto made a strange or unpredictable move that threw Shikamaru off. Naruto wasn't as close with his other friends though, but still hung out with them all occasionally. About a year ago, Tsunade began to teach Naruto in the art of the shinobi. She began with basic chakra control lessons and had him study the various histories of different shinobi cultures, and he soaked up the information like a sponge. She even told him that if his control was good enough she would try to teach him some medical jutsu, if he managed to test into her extra class, which would be starting during his first year at the academy. Naruto found that he had trouble with chakra control and deduced that it was due to his large reserves as well as Kurama. He knew that he would have to work almost triple what anyone else had to on his control to be at a similar level. But that also meant he would have even more chakra at his disposal. Naruto had also been spending much of his free time learning calligraphy and fuinjutsu. He found that his hands seemed to be able to almost effortlessly glide across the page when he would practice, but as he learned that the Uzumaki clan were fuinjutsu specialists, it made sense that he would be a natural. One of the first things that he did was create a set of training weights, with Jiraiya's help, as his uncle had been helping him with fuinjutsu. At the moment each weight was about 50 pounds. Naruto felt that he should update them soon, as he could barely notice them anymore. In the present, Naruto walked forward through the main entrance to the academy with Tsunade right behind. All of the new students had their parents with them. Naruto received his class assignment from a nearby chunin and walked back to his mom. Okay, are you all ready? Tsunade asked him. Yeah mom, don't worry about me, it's just the academy. Well, do your best, and behave. I don't want to hear that you're slacking off. I'm not Shikamaru, I'll make you proud mom. Naruto said with a smile. Okay, I will see you later. I just wish Yamato was here to see you on your first day. He is off doing real shinobi work. That is where he should be. Naruto told her. Well, you're right, of course. Have a great day. You too mom. Naruto turned around and walked towards the classroom he was assigned to. As he entered the room he saw only 3 other people in the room so far. One was Sasuke, who waved him over, the other 2 were an indigo-haired girl with lavender-white eyes, and Shikamaru, who sat in a seat next to the empty seat Sasuke reserved for Naruto. "Hey Sasuke," head Shikamaru, "so I guess that we are in the same class together, huh?" "Looks that way, Naruto," Shikamaru answered. "I just hope that this academy isn't as much of a joke as some of my clansmen say it is," Sasuke said, fearing for the worst. "Just think if it was a chance to show off that Uchiha pride," Naruto joked. "Loser. Jerk." Both of them started laughing. Naruto knew that Sasuke had already started his ninja training as well. They had ever trained together several times. Sasuke was strong and fast for their age group, but Naruto was no slouch either. Naruto turned around to see the girl in the back again. She was fairly quiet, so he figured he would say something to her. "Hey, you're a Hyuga, right?" The girl looked startled, but she met his eye and then turned away. "Why, yes. What's your name?" "Hinata? And why, you are?" "I'm Naruto. You know that you stutter a lot, right?" She looked down as if she was ashamed. "Hey, don't worry about it. You just need to have more confidence in yourself. Why don't you come and train with us sometime?" Naruto offered. That sound good," she answered. "Okay, and we will work on that stutter." She blushed and then looked away again. The rest of the class filed in shortly. Kiba, Choji, and Shino also happened to be in their class. There was also a girl with green eyes and pink hair, and a blonde girl who sat next to her. In the very back corner sat a boy with black hair and incredibly pale skin. Then two teachers walked in and stood in front of the class. The first had brown hair that was in a ponytail shaped like a pineapple. He had black eyes and a scar that went across his nose. The second teacher had light blue hair that went to his shoulders. And both of them wore the standard Chunin attire, completed with their flak vests. "Hello class, my name is Iruka Amino, and this is my partner Mizuki. We will be your instructors for the next 4 years. I look forward to working with all of you, and I know that you will be great hidden leaf shinobi. Now let's get started with a history lesson." Yamato walked into the third Hokage's office after the old man sent for him. He was dressed in his Anbu attire and had on his mask. Newly placed on his back was a short Tanto sword that he had recently begun learning how to use. The past few years had really made him strong, and his control over the wood release increased exponentially, so much so that it was close to being comparable to the first Hokage. His mission success rate was almost as good as Kakashi's. "You called for me, Lord Hokage?" "Yes, you may take off your mask, Yamato." Yamato did as he was told and sat down across from Hiruzen. "I have to ask you to do something for me that you will not like." "What is it, Lord Hokage?" "I assume that you have heard of my ex-advisor Danzo and his rude Anbu." "Yes, sir. 2 years ago I ordered his force to be disbanded, and I have reason to suspect that Danzo is up to his old tricks again. What I need you to do is infiltrate high ranks and keep close tabs on him for me." Yamato's face broke out in surprise. A solo infiltration mission into the ranks of the personal Anbu sect led by a Konoha elder or ex-elder. He immediately understood that this would be the most dangerous mission he had ever gone on. "Why me, Lord Hokage?" "Danzo is a collector. He wants what he perceives as the greatest weapons Konoha has as his own. And after all of your work these past 2 years, you have proven yourself unique." Yamato didn't know what to say. He couldn't exactly turn the mission down when he was handpicked for it, but he also didn't know if he was skilled enough to do it. "Yamato, if I didn't know that you could handle this, I wouldn't have chosen you. Danzo is a man that needs to be watched. He will stop at nothing to get what he believes is due to him. He even tried to turn the councils against your brother in hopes of turning him into a weapon. He is a dangerous man to just leave alone." Yamato's face changed when he heard about Danzo wanting his brother. He knew that he couldn't let that happen no matter what. "I'll do it, sir." "Excellent, Yamato. So, Lord Hokage, what do I do?" "Just keep up your everyday life, and missions the same as always. Trust me when I say Danzo will get in touch with you. And when he does join him, after that we shall play it by ear." "That is all, Yamato, you are dismissed." Naruto sat in class taking notes on everything Iruka-sensei said. He found the whole lecture rather boring, and wasn't sure exactly how this would help him as a ninja, but he wanted to learn everything he could just in case he needed it. It had been 3 months since the academy started and Naruto was starting to feel a little antsy. All they had done so far was history lesson, shinobi customs and rules, and chakra theory. He wanted to put it into practice. Iruka noticed that Naruto, who was one of his best students, was starting to fidget around more and more each day. Okay guys, that's enough for today. Go home and study because I will be testing you all on this material tomorrow. Iruka said to the class. He watched as one by one all of the students began to leave in a hurry. Naruto was never in a hurry though, and he would always wait to leave until just about everyone else was gone. It intrigued Iruka to no end. Naruto, can I talk to you for a moment? Is there something wrong, Iruka-sensei? Did I do something wrong? He asked as he approached Iruka's desk. No Naruto, of course not. I just wanted to speak with you for a moment. Iruka pulled a chair over to the desk for Naruto, and the blonde sat down. Is there something bothering you, Naruto? In class 1 mean, I've noticed you're getting a little stir-crazy. It's nothing important, Iruka-sensei. Naruto said, not wanting to overstep any boundaries. No, Naruto, I would like to know. Well, Naruto was hesitant to say anything in fear of disrespecting his teacher. Don't worry, Naruto, you won't get in any trouble. It's just, all of the history lessons are interesting and all, but I don't see how they will help me be a ninja. It's been 3 months and we haven't done any taijutsu training besides everyday normal workouts, nor have we gone past chakra theory to actually chakra control exercises. He said without looking into Iruka's eyes. I'll answer all of your concerns, okay Naruto. Naruto just shook his head yes to Iruka. There is a saying that history will repeat itself if we don't learn from it. All of the lessons are to teach you about the problems of our past, so that maybe we won't make those same mistakes. And trust me, shinobi have made more than enough mistakes. As for the slow pace at physical and chakra ability, most of our students do not come from shinobi families, so while you and the other clan-born children have been conditioned for ninja training, the others have not. Because of this, we need to build them up so that they can handle the harder training we will eventually do. Does that all make sense? Yes, sensei. Naruto looked down to the ground and he thought of how Iruka just explained everything, and he realized that his wants were not fair to the other students. H felt bad for being slightly selfish, and made a vow to himself that he wouldn't leave anyone behind ever again. I'm sorry, Iruka-sensei. There is no need to apologize, Naruto. That's what teachers are here for, to help students understand things. And if you can take what I just said to you to heart and learn from it, then I have more than accomplished my duties as your teacher. Naruto smiled up at Iruka and decided that from now on he would take what his sensei taught him to heart more, because Iruka really was there to teach him, not only how to be a good shinobi, but how to be a good person. Naruto, have you thought about applying to Tsunade's medical training class? Yes, Mom is going to be great teacher. I almost forgot that she was your mother. Iruka said while chuckling a bit. Well, you can get going, Naruto, and remember to study for the test tomorrow. I expect to see your same great marks. I'll see you tomorrow, Iruka-sensei. Naruto ran out of the room and headed home to go over all of his notes. Yamato was on his way back to the village after completing a mission. He could see the village gates about a mile up ahead. His thoughts drifted to the mission that the third had given him. It had been 3 months and he had not been contacted yet. He wondered if Hiruzen was correct about this Danzo guy. When he reached the village and checked in with the gate guards, he began to head to turn in his completed mission. He felt like someone was following him, but when he looked around there was no one. After turning in his mission, Yamato decided that it was time for a little R&R, so he went looking for a nice secluded spot in the woods. When he found it, he got into his meditative position and began to feel the nature around him. Everything was still, and he knew that it meant he wasn't alone. The sound of shuriken chopping through the air alerted him to a hostile tree, and a tree burst from the ground to stop the thrown stars. 2 masked figures jumped from the trees and began to engage him with their kunai knives. Yamato drew his tanto and blocked the oncoming strikes. The attacking shinobi slashed and weaved through Yamato's defenses and impaled him with their kunai. As it bled, the body turned into wood. That would be my wood clone jutsu. I can keep this up 30 times over. One of the ninja said. Wood style. Binding roots jutsu. The roots from the surrounding tress began to break through the ground and wrap themselves around the shinobi bodies. They attempted to use the replacement jutsu but found it wouldn't work, nor would the body flicker, or any jutsu. You can keep trying all you want. Those roots are absorbing your chakra and feeding the trees. Now, unless you want permanent chakra exhaustion, or worse, death, you tell me what you're doing here, and why you attacked me. Well, that was an interesting fight. I must say I am impressed that you can use the wood release jutsu so effectively when you aren't of Senju descent. Orochimaru really knows what he's doing, doesn't he? An elderly man with a bandage-covered eye and a scar on his cheek said as he approached Yamato. Who are you? My name is Danzo, and I have come to offer you a lace at my side as the weapon which will destroy all who oppose us. And why would I do that? Because I know you. You seek peace above all else, but you know that true peace, in this world of ours, is impossible. If you want peace, you must enforce your will on all of those around you. If Konoha was to take over the other villages, as is its destiny, then we would have peace. I offer you the chance to help make it a reality. And if I say no? Then I shall leave you alone, for now. I'm in. Show me this peace you wish to create. Yamato said to Danzo. Very good. Now if you would please release my ninja. Yamato made a hand sign and the roots recede into the ground. That technique will be far more accurate for you soon enough. Danzo thought to himself. Naruto walked home with Sasuke and Shikamaru. They had just finished their test over shinobi principles and the First Great War. Sasuke had a 94%. Naruto had a 95%, and because of Naruto making sure he didn't just sleep through it, Shikamaru had a 100% on the test. Well, it looks like the great Uchiha clan got beat out, Shikamaru. Naruto said, trying to goad Sasuke. Naruto, just shut up, okay, a 94 isn't a bad score. Sasuke defended. It is still an A. Sasuke, you're right, a 94 isn't a bad score. Naruto began. But a 95 and a 100 is better. Shikamaru finished. Naruto and Shikamaru laughed at Sasuke's misfortune. You could see his ivory face go red from embarrassment and faux anger. You two just wait until we get into some real ninja stuff, then I will make you eat your words. Maybe Sasuke, but for now you're still third best. Shikamaru responded. By 1 point, the three friends joked and laughed on the rest of their walk to their respective houses. Unbeknownst to them, a black-haired boy was following and watching for a distance. Welcome to your new home, Yamato. Yamato looked around at the underground base of Root. He memorized every detail that he could so that he could relay the information the third Hokage. Is something the matter, Yamato? Are things not to your liking? Or to Hiruzen's? Yamato paled. There was no way this man knew was there. What are you talking about? You know full well what I am talking about. I am no fool, unlike the Hokage. I know that you were ordered to infiltrate my organization and relay information back to Hiruzen. It would have been a good plan, except that I have already done it. Yamato knew that he needed to get out as soon as he could. But then he heard a strange sound behind him. He saw ink animals crawling across the floor as a black-haired pale boy walked towards Danzo. Hello, Sai, are you keeping tabs on the boy? Yes, Lord Danzo. Naruto Namikaze is under watch. We await to see what power he may bring to Root. You leave my brother out of this. Yamato felt his strength fail him as he was grabbed from behind. It was as if his chakra was stolen. Silence, you fool. That boy and yourself are nothing in this world but tools. Tools to be used as the tool masters see fit. He will join Root, I will be sure of that. And as for you, sealing art. Mind snare seal. Danzo placed his hand upon Yamato's head and a mark appeared. Yamato fell forward, and when he raised his head all emotion was gone from his eyes. You will be the foundation of the new leaf, fitting with whose powers you were granted. Danzo turned away from his new puppet. Now for our first target. Naruto was afraid. Yamato had not come home in over a month. Usually if he was going to be out on a long-term mission, he would have told him about it so he didn't worry. Naruto also noticed that his mom seemed distressed about the situation. That really worried him because she was normally much more reserved about her feelings when Yamato was on missions. Naruto. Huh? What? Iruka's yelling had snapped Naruto out of his thought, making him realize that he was in class. Everyone laughed at his predicament, causing him to blush. Sorry, Iruka-sensei. Pay attention, Naruto, I was asking you a question. Now because you weren't paying attention, tell me what the 5 cages are and what villages do they rule over? Naruto stood up to answer the question. He was still embarrassed and all eyes were on him, though he was gradually getting more and more used to the feeling. The 5 cages are the Mizukage, or water shadow, of the village hidden in the mist, the Tsuchikage, or earth shadow, of the village hidden in the rocks, the Raikage, or lightning shadow, of the village hidden in the clouds, the Kasecage, or wind shadow, of the village hidden in the sand, and of course the Hokage, or fire shadow, of our own village hidden in the leaves. Naruto sat down while Iruka gave him a soft smile. Very good Naruto, now next time please pay attention. Yes Iruka-sensei. Naruto waited the rest of the class out and tried his best to not become too distracted. The last thing he wanted to do was make Iruka's job any harder. Finally it was time to leave the class, so he go up and collected his belongings. Hey Naruto, is everything alright? Sasuke asked him. Yeah, I'm just worried about my brother Yamato. He hasn't been home in over a month, which is weird. Maybe he's on a mission. Itachi goes on long missions all the time. Now that he's an Anbu captain, maybe he would know where Yamato is. Yeah, let's ask him. Naruto and Sasuke went to leave when Iruka cut them off. He didn't look angry, but they could tell he wasn't happy. Naruto, we need to talk for a moment. Sasuke, you can wait outside. Okay Iruka-sensei. Go on Sasuke, I'll be right out. Hurry, Sasuke said. Sasuke left the room and Iruka sat at his desk with Naruto following close behind. Naruto, we need to talk about what happened today. I know, I'm sorry for not paying attention. I just had a lot on my mind sensei. Care to tell me what was so important? Iruka asked. My brother Yamato. Naruto answered. What about him? I think something bad happened to him. What do you mean Naruto? He wasn't been home in over a month, and he never leaves for that long without telling me. I understand that you are worried, but from what I hear Yamato is a very strong ninja. He is, but I can't shake this weird feeling that he needs help. Okay, well, I will look past this for today, okay? But you need to focus while you're here. If I had to put every class on pause and wait for people all the time, no one would really learn anything. Okay Iruka-sensei, it won't happen again. Good, then you may leave. I'll see you tomorrow sensei. Naruto ran outside to get Sasuke and the two went to find Itachi at the Uchiha clan compound. What do you mean missing? Tsunade was beyond angry. She hadn't heard from her elder son in over a month and she could see the toll that it took on Naruto. She was worried, so she went to see her old teacher and confront him about it. When she entered his office she saw that her son's Anbu team was present already. That is when Hiruzen informed her that Yamato was missing. We lost contact with him about a month ago. And you failed to tell me this because? I had assigned him a mission of the utmost importance. He was supposed to make contact with me. I thought he just may have hit a snag. And what kind of mission was it? Infiltration. Do not play games with me sensei. I want to know what mission you sent my son on. He was supposed to infiltrate Danzo's Anbu division, route. I thought you had Danzo dismantle route. I have reason to suspect he failed to do so. I gave him the mission so I could find proof and stop Danzo for good. Why did you pick Yamato? Out of everyone else, why him? Danzo would have wanted him due to his would-release Kekkei Genkai. He told her. Tsunade sat with her hands covering her face. She didn't know what to do in this situation. Naruto would be asking her about Yamato. How was she supposed to tell him that no one knew where he was, or even if he was alive at this point? Sensei, you had better hope that he turns up safe. Tsunade, I understand. No, you don't understand. You sent my son on a suicide mission to settle an old feud between you and your old friend. You should have finished this years ago sensei, and now I have to go and tell Naruto that his brother, the only person who kept him safe from Orochimaru, is missing, maybe even dead. She yelled, startling everyone in the room. Lady Tsunade, please calm down. Kakashi tried to intervene. She sat down and took a deep breath. She knew she shouldn't be acting like this, but she couldn't help it. She had already lost far too much. She didn't want to lose her sons now too. Look, I'm sorry, okay? I'm just worried and scared. I just got to be part of a family again, and I don't want to lose that. Not just for my sake, but also the boys. Tsunade, I am sorry. I promise that we will do whatever it takes to find Lord Hokage. An Anbu burst into the room. What is it? Someone is attacking the Uchiha district, sir. What? Itachi quickly asked. Naruto and Sasuke were on their way to the Uchiha compound. On the way they began to talk about their various training habits. Naruto had given Sasuke training weights so he could build up his strength and speed, and Sasuke's father Fugaku had taught him the fireball jutsu, as was the Uchiha family tradition. Naruto on the other hand had been learning more fuinjutsu. He could create sealing scrolls by himself now, and Jiraiya had told him that it was an impressive feat for an 8-year-old. Yamato had also been working on some low-level water and earth jutsu, which proved to be quite difficult for Naruto as he has yet to master them. So do you think we will start learning actual ninja stuff anytime soon? Sasuke asked. I don't know, I hope so. I mean, I guess the stuff we are learning is ninja related, but it doesn't seem that important. Are you going to try to get in the medical class? Naruto asked. Me? No, I'm not into medical ninjutsu. Now kenjutsu is something I could get into. Swordplay would be fun to learn, but who would teach us? Us? Hey, go find your own teacher. Sasuke said in a joking manner, earning a punch in the arm from Naruto. Quote, I'm serious, Sasuke. Well, my brother could probably show us a thing or two. The two boys approached the compound and Sasuke saw something weird. Where are the guards? The boys ran up to the gate and walked through. What they saw changed their lives forever. Sasuke, are they dead? I think so. In front of them were the bodies of the guards, both with missing eyes and kunai lodged in their throats. Dad, Mom, Sasuke said under his breath. Hey, what was that? Naruto heard a commotion coming from further inside the compound. I don't know, but I need to find my parents. Let's go, Sasuke. Sasuke and Naruto ran down the street of the compound, and on their way they saw several other bodies of Sasuke's now deceased relatives. Tears stung Naruto's eyes and Sasuke felt like he would throw up from the look of the corpses. They were all missing eyes. As they approached the sound of the commotion, they saw a fight going on. All of the remaining Uchiha in the compound, including Sasuke's father, were fighting a small group of what looked like Anbu. Dad, Fugaku saw his son who looked so frightened, and it made him fight her all the harder. Two Anbu ninja charged at him and he took out a small tanto blade and impaled one of the attackers. He then ran through hand signs and used his fireball jutsu to light the other one ablaze. Then he ran over to Sasuke and Naruto. What are you two doing here? It isn't safe. Dad, what's going on? These people just attacked us. They already butchered a lot of our clan and then they ripped out their eyes. It is sickening. You two get inside so that I can finish this fight. Sasuke and Naruto nodded to Fugaku. Wood style. Body binding roots jutsu. Fugaku found himself being surrounded by roots bursting from the ground beneath him. He tried to get away but felt like his chakra had been sucked away. One of the Anbu jumped down and prepared to kill the Uchiha clan head, and before he could strike he was kicked out of the way. Itachi, you're okay. Sasuke yelled out as his brother landed on the ground. Naruto. The blonde turned to see Tsunade, the third Hokage, and a few Anbu running towards him. Anbu, wipe out these killers. Hiruzen said to Team Ro. The Anbu who was kicked out of the way stood up and began to fight with Itachi. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Water style. Water wall jutsu. Itachi's powerful fireball was extinguished by the disguise of steam. Earth style. Earth dragon bomb jutsu. In front of the masked Anbu a dragon head formed out of the ground. Its mouth opened and a flurry of earth bombs shot out at Itachi. He leapt out of the way and drew his tanto. The Anbu drew his own as well. Itachi and the Anbu fought a short kenjutsu match, with Itachi managing to cut the ninja's arm and back. With the Anbu in pain, Itachi quickly spun and kicked the man to the ground. They removed his mask as he laid on the ground and were shocked at what they saw. Yamato? Naruto couldn't believe that he saw his brother on the ground before him. His brother had been one of the killers who attacked the Uchiha compound. Naruto was so confused and scared he didn't know what to do even as Tsunade hugged him to her. Yamato awoke suddenly and a tree sprouted from underneath him. The tree was covered in vines and those same vines entangled Itachi, Sasuke, and Fugaku, effectively pinning them in place. He stood up and grabbed a tanto and tried to impale Itachi. Yamato, stop! Naruto yelled out, causing Yamato to freeze in place. What are you doing? You can't attack people from Konoha, then are your peers and friends. Naruto? Yamato asked as he put away the tanto. Naruto? Yamato grabbed his head and began to shake and scream in the sky as he was overfilled with pain. The mark upon his forehead began to glow until he couldn't make sense out of reality anymore. Itachi opened his eyes and stared into Yamato's. A lone tear fell from Yamato's eyes as Itachi placed him under a genjutsu. Yamato fell to the ground in a heap. Kakashi, Anko, and Yugo arrived back, after killing all the other remaining killers. Yamato? Tsunade asked in shock as she knelt down next to her fallen son. She couldn't believe that he could be capable of this kind of senseless destruction. Mom, is Yamato going to be alright? I don't know. Someone please find Jiraiya and get him over here. Jiraiya wasn't too far away from the hidden leaf, so it didn't take him long to get back. First he went to the hospital. He was shocked to see Yamato unconscious in bed and strapped down tight to the hospital bed. There was a glowing seal placed upon his forehead. Jiraiya, please see what you can do about that seal. Tsunade requested. Sure thing, Tsunade. He approached the bed and began to examine the seal. He put his hand upon Yamato's head and evaluated the markings and the chakra used on the seal. He was quite impressed with the intricacy of the seal as well as the many levels and properties the seal had. This seal is expertly done and nearly unbreakable. I am impressed by his handiwork here. So there isn't anything that you can do then? Tsunade asked, clearly upset. Hey now, I'm not giving them that much credit. This seal is cake for me. I was just saying how well designed it was. Jiraiya's hand began to glow and make a loud vibrating noise as his chakra sped up. He placed his hand upon Yamato's forehead and the sound of the two clashing chakras became a loud screeching noise. Fortunately Yamato remained asleep. Jiraiya, now finished, smiled and walked out of the room. Fugaku, Itachi, Tsunade, Hiruzen, all of Team RO, and the two boys were outside waiting. Hiruzen asked. The seal was a mind snare seal, which are used to completely take over one's body, personality, basically their entire being, while the real self has to watch in horror. So you are saying that he didn't act of his own accord? Oh, he most certainly wasn't. That poor boy had to watch as his body murdered several of the Uchiha, and attack his friend while he couldn't do anything to stop it. Who would do something like this? Itachi asked. This seal was definitely Danzo's work. I would stake my life on it. He said to the group. He may be many things, but a Fuinjutsu master is not one of them. Uncle Jiraiya, why would someone do this to Yamato, or the Uchiha clan? Naruto asked. Naruto, in this world there are people who believe that any act of evil can be justified in a time of war. Danzo is a man who believes that here is no true peace in this world, and because of that we are always at war. Now he loves this village, but he thinks that we must kill our emotions so that we can be the strongest nation and eventually take over all of the others by force. Naruto didn't fully understand about Danzo that day, but he knew that he had to learn to understand him, so that he could overcome him. So what will we do about Yamato then, sensei? Jiraiya asked. Jiraiya, are you sure that Yamato would never have attacked without having that seal? Fugaku asked. Yes, I am. That seal gave Danzo complete control over his body and used it as a tool to accomplish whatever he set out to do. Yamato would never have done this otherwise. He is correct, father. I have served on the same squad as Yamato, and he is one of the few people I consider a true friend. I regret having to use a genjutsu on him, but he had to be stopped. If that is the case, then I see no reason to charge him with any wrongdoing, Lord Third. Fugaku, are you sure? Our village has lost a lot today. I do not wish for it to lose anymore because of Danzo. But if that man ever comes back, we will kill him on sight. I understand, Fugaku. Thank you, Fugaku, Tsunade said with tears in her eyes. Lady Tsunade, we have lost much today, and that boy, though free of guilt, will have it on his soul forevermore. I only wish to spare him any more pain. He gave a small bow to Tsunade. Itachi, Sasuke, let's go.